Hello, friends, and thank you as always for visiting the Legend Sports Universe YouTube channel, Legend Sports Universe, where legends play forever. The final week of year 2 of the Franchise Stars Football League came about with loads of uncertainty. 4 division titles up for grabs, and 6 of 10 playoff spots were as well. So for week 14, rather than do a customary game of the week, or even two, I elected instead to bring back the highlight show I was doing early in the season, which was fun, but shelved simply because of time reasons. But this week's events warrant its return, so let's get to it. The final week of year 2 in the league where they play for pay. We open up with the NFC North, where the scenario was simple. Packers defeat the Vikings, they win the division. A Green Bay loss, and a Lions win over the Bears, and a Packers squad that opened the season 5-1 would find itself on the outside of the playoffs looking in. We pick up midway through the second quarter at Lambeau Field, and what had been a knockdown, drag-out affair to that point finally gets points, with Ryan Longwell banging through this 32-yard field goal to give the Packers a 3-0 lead. With a little less than 3 minutes remaining in the half, though, the Vikings take the lead as trade deadline pickup Chris Warren, acquired from the Seahawks, dashes in from 30 yards out. A Blair Walsh extra point later, and Minnesota would have a 7-3 lead. That's how it would stay until 6+ minutes remaining in the third quarter, when the Packers running back would make his presence felt. Jim Taylor, 10th in the league in rushing this season, would bull his way into the end zone, and Green Bay would reclaim the lead 10-7. Taylor, who was leading the league in rushing through 6 weeks, slowed a bit in the second half of the season, but he comes through here with the big TD score. We'll head now to check into Detroit, where a defensive war was raging, with the Bears looking to play the role of spoiler. Late third quarter, deadlocked at 3, and it's Bob Avellini, who replaced Bobby Douglas 3 weeks ago as the starter, going deep but overthrowing Alshon Jeffrey. But Lombardi is flagged for pass interference, and the Bears would pick up 51 yards on the play. That would set up this early in the fourth, as Gale Sayers, mired in an abysmal season by his standards, cuts outside from 3 yards out and finds daylight and the end zone to give the Bears the lead. But Paul Edinger would shank the extra point, keeping the score at 9-3 Chicago. We check back in Green Bay, where the Packers lead now 16-10 in the fourth, and it's Longwell, who did not have a great season, coming through here from 53 yards out at a windy Lambeau Field to make it a 2-score game with 4:39 remaining. The ensuing kickoff would quiet the raucous Lambeau crowd, however, as Jake Reed would go 99 yards on the return, taking it to the house as the disappointing Vikings, last year's division champions, would keep their own spoiler hopes alive against their hated rivals. That would make it 22-17. Green Bay would get a first down on their next possession but do nothing from there, and the Vikings got the ball back with plenty of time on the clock. Under 3 minutes remaining, 3rd and 10 from their own 30, and Brad Johnson connects with Randy Moss into Green Bay territory, as Moss, who was underused this season, particularly during Kirk Cousins' tenure as starter, makes a great leaping grab and holds on despite a shot from Ken Ellis. Chains would move, but the Vikings would then be forced into a 4th and 2 from the Green Bay 40. But again, the Packers defense gets burned, this time as Johnson finds Adam Thielen across the middle for 29 yards down to the Packers 11. To Detroit we go, as both teams approach crunch time. Less than 2 minutes left, down 6 from the Bears 45, it's 4th and 10 for the Lions, and it's Scott Mitchell down the sideline to Lance Rensel, picked up from the Cowboys in the Darius Slay deal at the trade deadline. Redzone takes a shot here from Mike Richardson, but holds on and the Lions would stay alive. Still in Detroit, now first and goal from the 1, expecting Billy Sims to hammer it in. But Coach Dan Campbell has Mitchell fire a quick slant to Redzone for the touchdown to knot the game. Edinger's earlier missed extra point for Chicago would loom huge, as Jason Hansen would bury his PAT, and the Lions, in the final minute, would keep hope alive with the come-from-behind 10-9 win over the Bears. The games were in veritable lockstep, and the Ford Field Jumbotron brought up the final moments in Green Bay, shortly after the clock ticked out in Detroit. Tens of thousands of Lions fans became Vikings fans in that moment. 18 seconds remaining from the Green Bay 18. Johnson drops, looked, and fires to the back of the end zone, where Ahmad Rashad would reel it in to silence the crowd at Lambeau, energize the crowd in Detroit. For the Packers, who seemed poised to be a force early in the season, they would miss the playoffs for a second straight season, and the Lions, 7-7, would get a home playoff game in the Wildcard game as the shocking NFC North division champs. We head out west, where the Cardinals have gone 4-5 after starting 4-0, and let the Rams, winners of 5 straight, back into the fight. Now it comes down to the season's final day. Cardinals and Rams split the season series, but the Cardinals hold the division record tiebreaker and take the division with a win over the 49ers or a Rams loss to the Seahawks. But a Rams win and a Cardinals loss means a division title for a Rams squad that nobody wants to play in the postseason. Our first stop is in San Francisco, where the disappointing 49ers, last season's NFC champs, will miss the playoffs here in year 2. They're looking to take their frustrations out on the Cardinals, who defeated them in Week 3. Late first quarter, Cardinals quarterback Jim Hart drops back, and Charles Haley drops him hard for a loss of 15 that would turn a 39-yard field goal attempt for Jay Feely into a 54-yard effort that would sail wide left, keeping the game scoreless. Early second quarter, and it's John Brody from 15 yards out, finding Jerry Rice over the middle in the back of the end zone for the score. Leonard Smith unloads on Rice, who holds on and gives San Francisco a 7-0 lead. We head to Los Angeles late second quarter. Apologies, the control disconnected, so there's no video of the early scores in this one. Our Heidi moment of sorts, I suppose. But we pick up the action with the Rams up 7-6 before halftime. But the Seahawks drive it, and it's John Kitna to his tight end Atuli Mili on the sideline as he toe taps in from 6 yards out for the score, just inside the pylon as Hacksaw Reynolds is a step too late, and Seattle goes into the tunnel, up 13-7. Third quarter action now, we go into San Francisco. Cardinals still without any points, still trailing 7-0, and the 49ers deep in their own end. From their own 8, Brody drops back, and something doesn't go according to plan. The center and the guard pull right, but nobody's there, and Cardinals defensive tackle Mike Dawson gets a free run at Brody for the safety, making the score an awkward 7-2 Niners. A little over 5 minutes left in the third, back to Los Angeles, where the Rams earlier got a Mike Lansford field goal to cut the deficit to 13-10. Seahawks ball on the Rams 12, and Kitna connects with Mike Pritchard for the score over the middle. With the extra point from Todd Peterson, Seattle would push its lead 20-10. The Rams had the second best run defense in the league this season. Part of that was they're having the second worst pass defense, so teams stayed in the air against them. Fourth quarter we go, and it's Kitna again, 19 yards out, spreading the wealth, this time to Darrell Jackson in the corner of the end zone, and the Rams' postseason hopes fading. Kitna's third touchdown pass of the day, Seahawks rolling 27-10 in the fourth. Still plenty of time left, though, for a potent Rams offense. On the ensuing drive, the Rams march it down the field, and it's Kurt Warner. Wendell Tyler, on a deep wheel route out of the backfield, gets behind coverage. Warner hits him in stride, and a sensational effort from Tyler here. He takes a shot as he dives into the end zone for the touchdown, and the Rams close the deficit back to 10, with still more than 10 minutes remaining. The Rams would force a 3-and-out, and next drive, it's Warner again, the league leader in passing yards, this time finding Henry Eller wide open in the end zone for the score, and the Rams surge their way back into this one. The deficit is now 27-24. We head back to San Francisco for the first time in a while to check in because, well, nothing's really happened. Fourth quarter, Niners still lead it 7-2. Both teams looking for something explosive. Brody goes for the bomb here, ING in Washington, but it's underthrown and Patrick Peterson picks it off. Score stays 7-2. The Cardinals get the ball back with another opportunity. Arizona's tiebreaker safety net looked good when the Seahawks were up 27-10 on the Rams. But now, 6.5 minutes left in Los Angeles, it's a 3-point game. 3rd and 4 for the Seahawks, who get a big conversion here from Kitna to Chris Carson for the first down to keep their drive alive and keep time ticking on the Rams season. Same drive, Rams force another 3rd down, this one a 3rd and 1. But rookie Marshawn Lynch finds a hole to pick up another 3rd down conversion and keep the drive alive and the sticks and the clock moving. Inside 4 minutes left back in San Francisco, the Cardinals are driving. 3rd down from the Niners' 12, and Jim Hart over the middle, intended for Ricky Proehl, but it finds the 49ers' Patrick Willis instead. Willis, a terrific linebacker, perennially underrated. That's a great block to set him free, and he is off to the races. It is a pick 6 for Patrick Willis, and the Cardinals' situation grows more precarious. Their deficit is now 14-2. Back to Los Angeles. Same drive for Seattle, now coming up on 3 minutes remaining in the game. Picked up over the middle to tight end Luke Wilson, and strong safety Michael Stewart goes for the big hit and whiffs on it. Wilson spins off him and in for the score to put the Seahawks back up 10, 34-24. 4th touchdown for Kitna on the day to his 4th different receiver. The Cardinals are clinging to life. A little more than 3 minutes left in their game, deep in their own end. Hart finds Otis Anderson out of the backfield, but he is hammered by Willis and then by Eric Wright, jarring the ball loose. 49ers recover, and the Cardinals continue to scoreboard watch. In Los Angeles, now a minute 32 left. Rams ball, 45-yard field goal attempt from Mike Lansford to make it a 7-point game. But Lansford, who hit 27 of 29 field goals on the season to this point, hooks it wide. A deflating miss for Lansford, and the Rams remain down 10. They'd force a 3-and-out on the Cardinals and get the ball back, and with 40 seconds left, Warner would find Cooper Kupp with the old playground ball. Go deep, down the right side, 71 yards for the score, and the Rams would continue to cling to desperation, 34-31. With an onside kick coming in LA, the Cardinals were trying to force the same situation in San Francisco. Touchdown, force an onside kick, and hang on to hope. Arizona driving, 20 seconds left, but Hart would be picked off again. The 3rd fourth quarter turnover by the Cardinals, this time by Kermit Alexander in the end zone, and the Cardinals, in a control their destiny game, score 0 offensive points and are left hoping the Seahawks can hold on in LA. Mike Lansford's onside kick is corralled by John L. Williams, though, and the Seahawks would hold on for the victory. The Rams' late season surge comes a game short, and the Cardinals, in the least inspiring way imaginable, are playoff bound as the NFC West champions. We turn our attention to the NFC South, where it's 2 games with 3 of the 4 teams participating, holding a potential playoff berth in their hands. Saints win, they're a division champ. Saints lose, the Falcons-Panthers winner takes the division. We open up in Carolina, where the Panthers forced the Falcons to punt on their opening drive, but started themselves on their own 5-yard line. 15 plays, 95 yards. 8 minutes and 40 seconds later, it's the fullback, Brad Hoover, from the 1, who bowls into the end zone to give Carolina a 6-0 lead. The extra point from Joey Sly would make it 7-0, and the Panthers were off and running. We next head to Tampa, where the Buccaneers hold a 3-0 lead early in the second quarter. 10:23 left in the half. And up the middle, it's Deuce McAllister for New Orleans. From 2 yards out, into the end zone for the score. The Saints would grab a 7-3 lead over the Bucs. Back to Carolina we go, a little more than 10 minutes left in the half there as well. And the Panthers' defense is swarming. 3rd and long, Matt Ryan drops back to pass, and he is hammered from both sides. Lamar Lathan and Brian Burns get him for the sack. Ryan almost loses control of the ball, but holds on. Panthers would force the punt and get back into Falcons territory, where Sly would come on for the 42-yard boot, and he'd knock it through to make it 10-0 Carolina in the second. Back to Tampa we go, Saints driving near the 2-minute mark in the half, 4th and goal from the 3, and Coach Sean Payton elects to go for it, thinking that even with the field goal it would still be a 1-score game. And so it's Mark Ingram, who avoids the full hit from John Lynch and drags him into the end zone for the score. The gamble pays off, and the Saints extend their lead to 14-3. Final minute of the half in Carolina, the Panthers banging on the door again. 3rd and goal from the 1. Play action, Falcons don't bite, and chaos ensues. Teddy Bridgewater is hit. He fumbles the ball, but it stays loose, and Bridgewater gets up, picks up the ball, and tries to get a pass off before getting hammered a second time before he can really secure his grip. This time by Claude Humphrey. The ball comes loose, the Falcons recover, and avoid the 17-0 halftime deficit with a huge turnover. 10-0 Panthers at the half. Saints got a late field goal before halftime to make it 17-3 in Tampa. That holds, the Saints win the South, the Panthers win the wild card, and the Falcons, their 4-0 start, seeming a lifetime ago, go home. Second half action early in the 3rd quarter in Tampa, and Jameis Winston, he threw the most interceptions in the league here in year 2. Here's one of them. It's trade deadline pickup Harrison Smith, acquired by the Saints from the Vikings. Picking it off, his first interception as a Saint. Winston, looking for Gerald Carter, misses horribly, and the Saints take over. Later in the 3rd, 5.5 minutes left from the 7. Breeze drops back, fires over the middle. Defender draped all over Danny Abramowitz, but he holds on anyway for the score. The Saints are rolling, extending their lead to 24-3 with the division title in their grasp. On the ensuing drive, Winston would drop back again for Tampa, and this time it's linebacker Vaughn Johnson, just back after missing 4 weeks with an injury, who picks Winston off. Second interception of Winston in the quarter, and the Saints get great field position again. They'd be turned aside though, and with things in Charlotte static at 10-0 Panthers, we would head to the 4th quarter, staying in Tampa. Buccaneers get a drive going. Winston throws picks, but when he's right, he throws touchdowns as well. 11 yards out, Winston finds Mark Carrier, who had a terrific season. He finished with 78 catches, 1,132 yards, and 9 touchdowns, including this one. The Bucs, not giving up on playing spoiler, narrow the deficit to 24-10. Early in the fourth in Charlotte, the Falcons finally have something brewing. From the Carolina 15, it's 2nd and 10, and it's Matt Ryan over the middle. Skinny post to Alfred Jenkins for the score. Ryan throws a dart here, and Jenkins finds the seam. And now it's nail-chomping time in Carolina, with the Panthers' lead cut to 10-7. Back in Tampa, we're inside the 4-minute mark. 1st and goal for the Buccaneers, and this time Winston decides to use his legs instead. 7 yards out, he sees space and makes a break for it, untouched into the end zone. The good and the bad of Jameis Winston on full display in Tampa. He scampers in, and the Michael Usted extra point would make it a 7-point game, 24-17 New Orleans. Perhaps buoyed by the Bucs' rally, the Falcons stop the Panthers and get down the field again. Inside 4 minutes now remaining in Charlotte. 4 yards out, 1st and goal. It's Ryan to Roddy White near the pylon. White reaches out, takes the hit, takes the shot, but holds on, breaking the plane to give the Falcons their first lead of the ballgame. It's 14-10 Atlanta. To the final minute we go, and we head back to Raymond James Stadium. 49 ticks on the clock, and it's Winston to the corner, and it's Carrier in the air to pull it in. Dino Atkins hits him, but Carrier holds on. His 2nd score of the 4th, and the Bucs score 21 points in the 4th quarter to stun the Saints and make it a tie game in the final minute. The Bucs would halt the Saints again, and they would get a crack at a Hail Mary attempt to end it. The pass falls incomplete, though, with overtime seemingly looming. But there's a flag on the play, a personal foul. Inexcusable in this situation on Mark Fields, who hits Winston late. The 15 yards would give Usted a shot with no time on the clock to crush the Saints' hearts. 56-yard attempt has barely enough distance, but just misses wide, and disaster for New Orleans is averted, at least for the moment. We head to overtime. To Charlotte we go again, 2-minute offense for a desperate Panthers squad. 1st and 10 from the Falcons' 37. Bridgewater looking for Rocket Ishmael, but Kenny Johnson is there with him and picks it off to kill the Panthers' push and give the Falcons the victory and a playoff berth. Back to Tampa now in overtime. Saints drive down the field, and it's 1st and goal from the 1. And Mark Ingram again, his 2nd score of the game. A nice little juke near the goal line, pops him into the hole, and makes it into the end zone for the score. 31-24 Saints in overtime. And now it would be up to the New Orleans defense, which collapsed so terribly in the 4th quarter, to get one big stop. 4th and 5, the Bucs from their own 31. Winston drops, he fires, off the mark, and the Saints survive. They win their final 4 games of the season and sweep the division gauntlet over the final 3 to take the South as champions. Falcons get the wild card, and the Carolina Panthers get a long break that nobody wanted. Now we head to the AFC, where the AFC North title fight and the AFC Wildcard were deeply entangled. Check this out. In the North, Steelers win the division with a win over the Ravens. But with the nature of tiebreakers, the Steelers, if they don't win the division, they will miss the playoffs entirely. There is no safety net for Pittsburgh. If Pittsburgh falls, the Browns-Bengals winner takes the division. So the North is pretty cut and dry. The wild card, however, is anything but. The defending champion Oilers head into Jacksonville. 5 teams entering the final week. If the Oilers win, they need the Browns to defeat the Bengals in order to advance. If the Jaguars win, they also need the Bengals to win, because they win a tiebreaker over Cincinnati, but lose a tiebreaker to the Browns. Got it? Good. Cleveland's wild card shot? Win and have Pittsburgh and Jacksonville win too. Cincinnati wants Pittsburgh to lose, or win and have the Oilers win as well. because the Bengals defeated the Oilers in Week 7, so the Bengals hold that tiebreaker. With that all cleared up, at least we hope, we head to the gridiron to conclude the regular season in year 2 of the FSFL. To Cincinnati we go, and Cleveland gets the ball first. It is ground and pound some more. On a 12-play drive, 10 of them runs, the last from Jim Brown, who barrels through from a yard out and nearly runs out of the end zone. The MVP of year 1 of the FSFL started slowly this season, but he still topped 1,300 yards, finishing 6th in the league in rushing, and he comes through here with the big score. It's 7-0 Cleveland. We make our first visit to Jacksonville, where the Oilers have had a similar start, with a methodical opening drive that ends here. 10 yards out, George Blanda finds tight end Alvin Reed on a corner route for the score. 12 plays, 86 yards, 6:22 off the clock, and the Oilers are in business. Back to Cincinnati we go. Bengals on the move, but with a 3rd and 9 from the Cleveland 40. And it's Ken Anderson dropping back. He starts to feel things collapse around him, and with good coverage downfield, he takes off, finds space, and picks up 20 before sliding for the first down to keep the drive alive. Not considered a particularly mobile quarterback, but Anderson comes through here with a big play. That would set up Doug Pelfrey for a 30-yard field goal that lets Cincinnati get the donut off the board. The deficit is cut to 7-3 with 3:25 left in the first. The joy from the Bengals faithful will be short-lived though. Eric Metcalf, who has returned punts all season, but started handling kickoffs as well after the trade of Greg Pruitt to the Bucs, takes this one and turns on the afterburners. A couple of cuts in the middle of the field leads him to daylight in the snow. Kickoff return for the score, and the Browns extend their lead. It's 14-3 Cleveland. We head back to Jacksonville. Minute and a half left in the first, and it's Earl Campbell up the middle, blowing through a couple of arm tackles that just aren't going to get it done. Down to the Jaguars 27. 4th in the league in rushing this season, Campbell now hoping to carry the Oilers into the playoffs to defend their title. Same drive running into the second quarter now, and Campbell can catch it too. 12 yards out, Blanda hits him out of the backfield, and Campbell finds pay dirt as the Oilers extend their lead to 14-0. Oh yeah, Baltimore. We almost forgot. We didn't really. It's just that for 28 minutes, the Ravens and Steelers beat the stuffing out of each other, but neither side had anything to show for it. We pick it up in Baltimore at the 2-minute warning. Ravens on the Steelers 8, 3rd and 7. Tony Banks looks end zone, but it's Jack Lambert ranging over and tipping the pass away to prevent the touchdown. Ravens would settle for a Billy Cundiff chip shot 25 yards out, and the Ravens would strike first, 3-0 Baltimore. Approaching the 2-minute warning similarly in Jacksonville, and it is all Oilers. The Jags just can't get anything going, and the Oilers can't miss. Blanda hits Alvin Reed for a second score, this one from 16 yards out, as the Oilers extend the lead to 21-0 with a near flawless first half. Remember though, the Oilers are not in control of their own destiny. But the team that holds the potential tiebreaker over them, the Cincinnati Bengals, trailed 14-3 at the half. But with the opening kick of the second half, that all changed quickly. That's Lamar Parrish, who cuts once, cuts twice, and finds a gap. He is off to the races, a 94-yard kick return to match Eric Metcalf's feat from the first half. Parrish opens the second half like a lightning bolt, and the Bengals are right back in it, down 14-10. 8+ minutes left in the third. Oilers, again. Second burst, same as the first. This time it's Derrick Henry from 5 yards out. Campbell has a score already, and Henry joins him. The hole inside doesn't open, but Henry pops it outside, not once, but twice. And the Jags can't get to him even though the play gets strung out. Henry scores and turns it into a blowout, 28-0 Oilers in the third. We check back in with the Steelers in Baltimore, and the Ravens' defense has been sensational. Steelers still off the board, 7:45 left in the third. Steelers at the Ravens' 34, but facing a 3rd and 21 after a holding penalty and a sack. But a heads-up play from Big Ben, similar to Anderson's play earlier for the Bengals. This one is only good enough for 7, but it turns a 51-yard field goal into a 44-yarder for Anderson, who hit game winners in waning moments of Week 12 and Week 13 to help get the Steelers here. That's kicker Gary Anderson, obviously. 44 yards, Anderson, unfazed by the snow, puts it through, and the Steelers knot it up. The kicking game matters, and it's not appreciated until moments like that one. And this. 4th quarter in Cincinnati, Bengals drive, but stall out at the Cleveland 11. Helfrey comes on for a 28-yard chip shot, and that look says it all. Helfrey misses it from 28 yards out, and the Bengals lose an opportunity to tie the game. Browns stay on top, 14-11. On the ensuing drive, though, the Browns take over. It's 2nd and 9, and it's Bill Nelson, whose incredible season has him in the MVP conversation, as he has outplayed every expectation. But this pass is a terrible one. That's Lamar Parrish, who returned the opening kickoff of the 3rd quarter for the touchdown. Now he comes through with a huge interception, and the Bengals would take over at the Cleveland 19 with 9.5 minutes remaining. Cruelty of sports, a great season marred by one bad play, a fate that perhaps awaits Nelson here. 2 plays later, Ken Anderson drops, rolls left, and fires for the end zone. A.J. Green goes up and reels it in for the score, and the Cincinnati crowd goes crazy. The Bengals take the lead, and in Jacksonville, the Oilers are struck by the notion that their dominant effort against the Jags might not be enough after all. We check back in Baltimore. Haven't spent much time there because there simply hasn't been much to tell. 3-3, 2 minutes left in the game. Ravens from their 28, and Tony Banks drops back, fires over the middle, and it's Jack Lambert again. Batted a pass away in the end zone earlier. Here he picks off Banks and sets the Steelers up at the Baltimore 35, division title in the Steelers' hands with a win. Back to Cincinnati we go. Browns inside 2 minutes from their own 18, 4th and 12. Their season in the balance, and it's Nelson, trying to atone for the interception, fires a dart to hit Jarvis Landry along the sideline, out to the 47, pickup of 29, as the Browns keep hope alive. 3 plays later, 3rd and 10 for Cleveland, and it's Nelson, again looking downfield. That's Ray Renfro, who caught 1 pass during the regular season. Huge reception here, 35 yards for Cleveland, inside the red zone, and the Browns bring the Cincinnati crowd to a hush. The Oilers' win over Jacksonville is a 31-0 final, a dominant effort by the defending champs, and a must-win, but now they can only watch. We check back in Baltimore, a minute left. Ben Roethlisberger to Dick Hoke off tackle to the left side. Hoke, who filled in so admirably when Willie Parker was out with injury, breaks free here and dashes into the end zone for the go-ahead score. Steelers a minute away from a division title, just have to hold the fort. 41 ticks left, 4th and 10 for the Ravens from their own 21. Banks fires to the near side, and it's batted away by Dwayne Woodruff. But a flag on the play. Woodruff is flagged for pass interference. 20 yards, the automatic first down. And the Ravens now will be close enough for Banks to make the desperation heave for the end zone. A brutal penalty on Woodruff, who wasn't buying it, but it didn't matter. Drive stays alive, 11 seconds remaining. Enough time to get closer, and it's complete. Thanks to his tight end, Dennis Pita, to the Steelers' 33. 5 seconds remaining, and now there's no doubt Banks can reach the end zone for a final shot for the Ravens. final play. Banks, with 3 receivers high side, floats it into the back of the end zone and it falls to the ground, or the snow if you will. But the Steelers have problem. Pass interference is the call on Troy Polamalu on the Hail Mary. We saw this in week 3 when the Packers got this call against the Lions heading into the half, and Dan Campbell lost his mind. Well, that's nothing compared to the irate Bill Cowher on the Steelers sideline, his assistants having to physically restrain him on what seemed to be an absurd call on that play in that spot. Game, of course, can't end on a penalty, and the Ravens get a chance to score. From the 1, no time on the clock. Ravens elect to throw, surprising everyone except the guys they needed to. Banks drops back, TJ Watt hammers him into Jack Lambert, who hammers him again, forcing the ball loose. LC Greenwood falls on it, and despite a nearly unfathomable disaster in the waning moments, the Steelers complete their rise from the depths, pick up the win, and the AFC North title, earning their first Fsfl playoff berth. So that sends us back to Cincinnati. 8 seconds left, Browns out of timeouts. 3rd and goal from the Bengals 5. It's Bill Nelson to Ozzie Newsome on a tight end out route. But linebacker Jim LeClaire comes up and brings Newsome down for a game-saving, season-saving, playoff berth clinching tackle at the 1-yard line. A play they'll talk about in Cincinnati for ages. LeClaire gets the stop, and the Bengals win, ousts not only the Browns, but the defending champion Oilers as well. The Cincinnati Bengals are your AFC Wildcard team. And with that, our playoff field is set. We'll stay here in the AFC first. The Wildcard game. Division rivals, the Bengals, head to Pittsburgh to face the Steelers. The Steelers beat them twice during the regular season. The Bengals will hope the 3rd time's the charm as they head to Pittsburgh. The winner of that will get the top-seeded Bills, 13-1 in Buffalo the following week. The other side, Kansas City visits Indianapolis. Chiefs and Colts should be a fine one there between a pair of exceptional defensive squads. This is going to be a fun bracket here on the AFC side. Bengals Pittsburgh will be a heck of a way to start it off. We now look over at the NFC bracket, where the Atlanta Falcons will head to the shocking NFC North champion Detroit Lions. Detroit 7-7 wins the North. They get the home game in the wild card game against the Falcons. The winner of that will head to Philadelphia to take on the only 10-win team in the NFC, the Philadelphia Eagles, while on the other side of the bracket, the Arizona Cardinals visit the New Orleans Saints. The Cardinals started off 4-0 like the Falcons did. The Cardinals, though, ending with only 2 points in a game where if they had beaten the Niners in Week 14, they would have clinched their berth. Losing is one thing. Getting blanked offensively is another. The Saints are playing good football. Cardinals are going to have to right that ship quickly. Like New Orleans here, like the Eagles here, but this is going to be a fun bracket on the NFC side. Again, the 2 reigning conference champions will each watch this year from home. Appreciate you tuning in here. This was a fun one to put together. I hope this format worked well to convey the stress and tension of Week 14, the final week of Year 2 here of the FSFL. Good stuff coming up this week. Friday night, the debut of the Stuff of Legends podcast. Going to be 3 episodes, half hour each, that opening weekend. Hopefully those 3 episodes will really wrap up what I'm trying to do with the Stuff of Legends podcast, which is not just going to be about what's going on here in the Legends sports universe. We'll bring in some real sports stuff, real life history. We'll tie the 2 together, a celebration of sports history, obviously centered around the Legend Sports universe. But we're going to have some fun stuff there that I think people are really going to enjoy with Stuff of Legends. So check that out next weekend. First episode Friday night, 10 p.m. here on the channel. The Stuff of Legends podcast debuts. Appreciate your time as always. Bang that like button if you haven't as of yet. Subscribe if you haven't as of yet. And most importantly, be good to each other. And we'll talk soon. Get ready for the FSFL playoffs.